I spent most of the day gathering about 100 or 200 comments, like little in between. I can't remember the exact amount. I only grabbed like a handful of videos because most of the comments this month were really tame. Even in the redo of Healer video, which we will get to, not a ton of negativity. Like,
you had a couple, but
I had a couple. I did have some. I did grab the negative comments. I grabbed surprisingly most of them out of like, it's kind of funny if I look at my YouTube stats. Like this month, as you can see, we got Jack Sparrow just shy of 50K and then all the way down to Doc Ock in the Spider-Man villains. And weirdly enough, Crunk snuck in there because for whatever reason, YouTube started promoting the Crunk video halfway through. And I don't know why, but it sure did. So I only grabbed comments from the videos that were kind of either controversial or had just really interesting things to say. I got Captain Marvel, Frozen, Goblin Slayer, Jack Sparrow, Jinx, McKevin, Redo of Healer, Scott Pilgrim, and Uzaki. I figured we're gonna save Redo for near the end. We won't have it at the very end, but we will have it next to the end because I kind of want to use Kevin as like a palate cleanser. Right. So the last one we're going to do is Kevin McCallister. I figured the first one we're going to do is Jack Sparrow. Kim Tink says, I think the exclusion of the people aren't cargo scene, deleted or not, was still unfortunate. Do you know that scene?
No.
We had a deal, Jack. I contracted you to deliver cargo on my behalf. You chose to liberate it.
People aren't cargo, mate.
Implying that he was a slave.
Slavery,
yeah, and he let them all go. As much as we wanted to include that, even as a comment, the video was already approaching a very chunky amount of time.
And that would have taken...
It's so good. Any scene that's deleted is non-canon, regardless of how good it actually is.
Because then people would be like, well, why don't you include the like original intentions and stuff like that? You can't do retroactive, like... things to that because it would miss the point of judging a product that is finished the way it is.
Beckett, that's his name. Wouldn't you say you should have put it in for trivia's sake? I mean, we just ran out of time, and I think...
The thing is there's no room in your video for trivia. Like, trivia would have to be, like, something that you would do after the fact, because you already talk about so much in your videos that if you wanted to include trivia, then... honestly, the videos probably go an hour and a half, and nobody's going to watch that.
It's not that nobody's going to watch it.
Not in this style. It doesn't match what you're doing in the video. The videos fall apart the minute they lose the idea of their core concept. They have to stay consistent. You can't be wishy-washy with what you choose to include or not include, or the entire idea crumbles from the core.
Yeah. That one was getting chunky as it was, and I think at the time Joe and I were more concerned about the pace of the video. Because again, Joe Cat joined me on that one. If I had full control of the entire thing and if I thought about it, I would have included it. I think we did talk about it, but I think we eventually just forgot either or didn't include it for various reasons. So next one. It's a shame that Jack's long-running wish to become immortal, though, by any means necessary, wasn't given a proper send-off. To be honest, the only reason I captioned this is I didn't know that was his goal. Like, did he state at any point that that was his goal?
The way he acted, it came off as an intention.
If this was a thing,
I think it might have been an interpreted intention from this.
Yeah, I don't... If it was, I missed that.
I think there's a message in there about eternal life isn't as valuable as saving people those you care for. See, this kind of stuff is just one person's or, a few people, the way they interpret the movies. It's not exactly an explicitly stated fact. It's just something that people can kind of look at and they get that out of a film, which is supposed to be something that happens, right? Like, a bunch of people are going to watch the same thing and get different messages out of it. That I can see where people get that message out of those movies, but it's not specifically what the movies are about. It's kind of it's a read between the lines idea. Yeah. Absolutely. But it's not an intention that every viewer is going to pick up on.
Have you heard of Death of the Author? Do you know what that means?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you know what that means.
I have, yeah, no. Okay,
yeah, so, like, for example, George Lucas, Star Wars Episode 1, a lot of people interpret Jar Jar as a racist caricature, and I'm like, how the did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
And people present their evidence. It's not invalid, it's just like, I think you looked into that differently.
Yeah.
And people are calling it that regardless of what George says, and that's kind of death of the author.
Yeah, I know what that is.
I know, I was explaining it to people.
Oh, okay.
It was stated by his dad in the third movie.
It's not just about living forever, Jackie. The trick is living with yourself forever.
I just missed it. I just missed it. That's me. There was an extended scene for when Jack and Elizabeth were marooned together in the first film, where he angrily shouts his whole plan to her, which was hilariously enough to help everyone get out of what they wanted, minus the bad guys, and that it was her dear, sweet, stupid boyfriend that screwed the whole thing up marvelously.
The fact is, I was going to not tell Bob Usher about Bloody Will in exchange for a ship, because as long as he didn't know about Bloody Will, I had something to bargain with, which now no one has, thanks to bloody stupid Will.
It's them kind of justifying Jack's actions. And again, I don't include deleted scenes. I don't include extended scenes. I only include trivia if I know it offhand.
You had too much material and not enough time to dedicate to the effort that it needed to really be put into it.
Yeah.
Especially with it being collaboration, there was just too much to go through.
If all games featuring Jack are canon, does that mean he actually beats a Chronomancer with the power of Death Breath? Technically speaking, every game with Jack Sparrow is canon, and I do mean canon as into the story. Pirates of the Caribbean does not care. They just threw everything at the wall.
No, they don't.
And whatever Jack Sparrow is in, I think is technically canon.
It's
This
obviously-
includes Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
This includes, sorta. Kingdom Hearts is actually canon to quite a few things, including Toy Story, which...
That blows my mind. I'm just like, what the...
Several Pixar people said the Kingdom Hearts was freaking canon to it. That's so weird.
That's bizarre.
Like, even for Pixar, that's really weird. The only film of the series that is also an adaptation of other rides elements is Stranger Tides.
Yes.
The original book is by Tim Powers, who is well known in the sci-fi and fantasy community. As far as my recollections go, it's the only time the story has been adapted so far. I don't know anything about this.
Neither do I.
Okay.
Actually, I am completely in the dark. I knew that Stranger Tides had more ride elements than other things, but that's just because I've literally ridden that ride 100 times.
I think some of those lawful good decisions were taken out of context. For example, he voted for Swan not because she was benevolent, but because he saw that their interests were aligned. This comes to light in the parlay a few minutes later. You're right, but still, technically speaking, lawful was closer. It basically everyone benefits if Elizabeth Swann was the Pirate King. So that's what it came down to. And yeah, I kind of brushed past it, but you kind of have to for the sake of the video.
Yeah, you do. As other people have been pointing out, Jack Sparrow is actually more caring about others than himself more of the time than not. So it still works overall, even as his overarching character.
I heavily disagree with the scene on the island. I thought it was really funny. This is referring to the island scene from Pirates of the Caribbean 2. It's when they were on the island of cannibals and they spent like 30 minutes running away. That's it.
Oh, the slapstick stuff?
Yeah!
Oh, man, those are great.
Yeah, no, I hated it. I hated it upon rewatching. See, the first time you watch it, and especially at a drive-in theater, which is where we saw it, it was okay. But the second time, it is a giant waste of time. It is 20 minutes of nothing happening. And that's...
I beg to differ.
No, nothing. We don't learn anything about the story. It's literally filler. It's literally filler.
It's entertaining filler, which is what
Not on the second rewatch. Either way, it wasn't fun for me and Joe. Me and Joe sat there for like 20 minutes just bored out of our goddamn minds. And we're like, is this a Nat 1? And we're like, yeah. We pointed out, and by the way, I hate using this term willy-nilly. So I actually felt it was a little bit racist. Because, like, indigenous people, cannibal savages.
It's based on the Disney ride. It's bound to happen anyway.
I didn't like it. I did not like it. And right now, we're on Captain Marvel. So, we will...
Plank?
My God. Get off the Mauler shit.
No, I don't want to. He's right.
Oh my God.
I like this one.
I don't disagree with any of these statements. I was also lukewarm to Captain Marvel as it's cool, but it's very much a girl power statement, which female empowerment is always appreciated. It's just a matter of how it's implemented.
Yeah, it's not good here. here.
And one thing that Art Lover there pointed out is that, yeah, and having the writing done by men was not the way to go. Hundreds of content on Disney Plus and still 1% of it's directed by women.
It's just, it doesn't feel like a real story. Like, it's not, I will say this, it's not just men who don't know how to write women. It's focus groups not knowing how to write characters in general. So whenever, like, they want to do something different, like having a female lead that's really a female lead and can actually, but she has to be able to carry a movie as a character, so like, oh, but we need it to be sanitized for the masses, and that's not how you do a character. Characters can't be sanitized because perfect people do not exist. Even Captain America got his violent streak after a while.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, he's a good guy. Like, you want to look up to him, but he can still break your back in a second if he really wanted to. And they did not hold back on his, like,
his darker
mistakes
moments.
And yeah.
If you gave me Captain Marvel and, like, unlimited time, like any amount of time and money, I could fix Captain Marvel. And it's not hard.
No, you
like,
just give her personality.
Yeah, like, just give her literally any personality, and that doesn't focus around her agenda. Essentially, it's an agenda. It's a girl power movie.
And you cannot. And we had this discussion when you first asked my opinion on Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot write an agenda before you write a story.
Yeah.
Never, ever, 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 ever. You can have an agenda in a story as part of it, as an overarching theme to a character's personal growth or something like that.
Make your character first. Have your message come in later, and it's almost always better. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Your statement about overpowered characters is something I can agree with. Take a look at Saitama from One Punch Man, to me, which is overpowered done right, since despite being able to destroy anything with a single punch, he's bored out of his mind because of it. What is Captain Marvel's goal? What does she want in life? No one knows, because she wasn't created with a goal. She was created to push girl power, and it was obnoxious.
It's so preachy. Anything that sounds like a religious nut yelling at you like this is the right thing should never be in a movie.
So
period.
That's really all I gotta say about it, is
like,
that no one knows what Captain Marvel wants.
No
one knows what she's going to do.
It's just girls are great. Girls, you believe girls are great because we're showing it to you. This is the only truth that exists. Accept it.
More or less, I agree with everything stated in the video, especially the ending part. There was always something about her character at the end of her movie that really irked me, and it actually took me until recently to figure out why. The big defining powerful moment for the character is when she suddenly starts fighting at her best.
Yeah.
The big computer mind thing is showing her all blah, 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 blah. They seem to be hyping up as she is, that's her most defining feature, that every time she gets knocked down, she gets up again and brushes herself off. That's really good mentality, but it's not unique to her at all.
Yeah.
And essentially the rest of this person's comment is the fact that all other Marvel heroes get back up when they're knocked down.
Yeah.
Literally every single one. And this movie is treating Captain Marvel as if she's the only one to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was really nice having a non-chud explanation for disliking the anti-sexism in the movie. I never had it put into context like that before, and you raised a very valid point. Okay, so what they're referring to is people like Mahler. People like Literature Devil, who I've had on the channel. I've had Literature Devil on the channel before.
But you basically made the same point that they were
I did. I made the exact same points. The only difference is I don't have a history of calling out female characters. And, like...
Yeah, but your wife does.
I calm down. I'm saying almost the exact same points they were, but I also pointed out that, like, story-wise, like, it doesn't work. I'm not going to say they're bad at explaining themselves, but for all their explanations, a lot of them just seem to hyper-focus on the agenda. And... I don't know.
Well, no, but that's not really fair, because you kind of do the same thing, because that is what breaks the story, and it's the fact that, again, pushing the agenda is the element that breaks the story, and that's something that people need to push away from. Like, that's why the point needs to be driven home so hard, because Hollywood doesn't seem to get this, and they will not unless it is explicitly laid out for them. That's the point. They won't change until they have mass definitive proof done by people who know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Again, like Mahler, because he does his research. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That's actually my biggest pet peeve with your videos, is that they're not in-depth enough for me.
I know, but like, your freaking autism is like taking over there.
Okay,
but like,
you can't stand on an argument with no foundation.
The thing is, I'm also doing a different thing.
Yeah, no, you are. But that's my point, to get the point across to the people, and specifically to Hollywood. Like, these people are writing these big, huge, giant arguments specifically to point out what is wrong with Hollywood and why we need to move away from that in hopes that somebody will actually hear them.
I feel the problem with Captain Marvel is the same problem a lot of characters when they're trying to give empowerment. It's not empowering to see a perfect character because no one will achieve that. At no point did I feel Carol was vulnerable, and the direction throughout the entire film made her come across as condescendingly arrogant or mildly pissed off. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
She has a Nendrid figure, and her Nendrid figure doesn't even have a goddamn expression on it. It's really annoying. It's just as blank as she is, and I was like, that's about right. It's not even cute. I
can see why you don't like her. When it comes to feminism and female empowerment, I've always felt that this one joke from Sonic Boom best describes it.
You know, Amy, anytime someone calls attention to the breaking of gender rules, it ultimately undermines the concept of gender equality by implying that this is an exception and not the status quo.
The fact that they focus so hard on Captain Marvel being a strong girl kind of diminishes the point. And I even point out in my own video that the MCU, up until Captain Marvel, had dozens of strong women, and they were all awesome.
Yeah, no, they're great. When the cartoon gets it better than the multi-million-dollar movie.
I hated this character in her own movie, but in other movies like Endgame and Shang-Chi, she's actually likable.
Yeah.
No, she was wonderful. And she was pretty good at Endgame. They worked with what they had.
Yeah.
She wasn't in Shang-Chi very long.
No, that's the thing. Every other thing, she just kind of cameoed and did her piece and pieced out. And I think that was fine.
I think she's kind of like Doctor Strange in that regard, is that she's a better supporting character than a main character.
I think Endgame was a missed opportunity to do something interesting with her. Having her accompany Clint and Natasha to Vormir, and thus putting her in a position where all of her strength and power was completely irrelevant, could have been, ooh.
That's a really good idea. And
there would have not been time to do it, though.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I feel like this might have been something that they might have wanted to experiment in a draft, considering who was writing Endgame, and it just feels like if this was a plan, this might have been cut for time, which is understandable in the overarching story, because overall it would not have mattered in the literal Endgame.
Yeah, it's a good idea. That's why I included the comment.
Yeah, it is a very good idea, and I feel like it's something that probably would have been considered at one point.
I feel like Captain Marvel's political commentary is a textbook example on how not to do it. Black Panther is a much better example.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
Yeah, no, and you didn't like Black Panther that much.
On rewatch, it's better than I thought.
The CG part at the end is kind of lame, though.
Well, I don't care. I never care about art, almost ever.
God, you were just.
I don't. Because, if it's presented well enough, and if I believe that things are at stake, then I care. Otherwise, I don't care about the art most of the time.
I know, but, you can tell where, the artwork and the directing shot would have, things with...
Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I guess Black Panther still rubs me the wrong way is people still agree with Killmonger, and that irks me because I feel like anyone with a brain who actually listened to what he was saying, did you just agree to genocide? Is that what you're doing? I don't want to think you are, but I don't think you know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it came down to, is people got really stupid on Killmonger.
You understand where he's coming from, but he's not right.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is that T'Challa was the right path to go with that, and because he was not going to be,
Thank you.
Kill them all.
I think that's what it comes down to.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, cool mode of still murder.
Yeah! That's a great comment.
Let's talk about Frozen.
Frozen.
Let me shit on Frozen.
Oh my god, you're just going to be like Captain Red Pill today, aren't you?
Oh my god. You brought me onto a stream. What did you expect?
Alright, Captain Red Pill.
Tara, she's on the move. There's nothing she can't do. She dreams of quitting her job and starting a travel blog.
How did you know that?
I might have read your diary. Yeah.
If you didn't watch my Frozen video, I love Frozen 1. Still a good movie.
Frozen 1's great.
Frozen 2.
I will not let my daughter watch.
Wonderful music. Wonderful music in Frozen 2.
And I still can't like it.
Yeah.
I still can't like it. I like the one song.
Which one? Into the Unknown?
Yeah, that's it. And I like the Panic at the Disco cover more.
Yeah. Your reviewing of movies brings a lot of depth to your analysis. People were very kind to me on that video, even though I ranted really hard on politics. Either were very polite about it, or even people who disagreed with me have been very polite, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Since Elsa is good and controls the 4 elements and unites opposing nations, does that make her the next Avatar? And I said the water knock is her animal companion too. You might be onto something. That's just a funny comment. I just like that.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious.
That's a great comment. I just like that.
Oh my god.
I really liked Frozen 2 when I first saw it. Songs, everything. Yeah. So essentially this is just complimenting the movie. And I even responded, there's a lot of talent that went into the movie that was basically wasted due to bad writing. And here's a good point from Art Lover. The co-directors didn't want to rush the sequel, but they were pushed by a deadline without having a crystal clear ending written out. Essentially, that is 100% on Disney. They rushed the movie.
Oh yeah, no, I know it is. I still can't believe that Disney let such a inherently racist and sexist movie release in the sense that it was.
Do you want to talk about it being
God,
sexist?
yes.
Okay, so she was in Discord one day, and you said that Frozen 2 was sexist. Go ahead and tell that story.
Extremely sexist, and I swear to shit, I can't remember who said it, but somebody literally called me out and was like, "Oh no, it wasn't. I thought all the girls were fine in it. They were treated well. The girls were treated well in it. But Kristoff wasn't. I have never seen such a blatant, ignorant. My poor boy got totally shafted in this in more ways than one, and I am so freaking pissed. And God, his song, everybody's like, but his song was so funny. I'm like, you mean the song where he tried to talk about his feelings, where he was supposed to be talking about it, his interpersonal problems that he's having at the moment, and it's the joke song because, we're supposed to laugh at the man's feelings? Are you serious? Are you serious? I seriously, I was so pissed, I almost walked out of the theater as soon as, I was so mad.
It is sexist. It's really bad.
It's really...
Because Kristoff... he dedicates his whole life to Elsa and Anna, and his whole emotional turmoil in the movie is that he's not getting attention from Anna, despite everything he's doing. He just wants to have a quick conversation.
I hate that the shtick is reduced. So the guy fumbling with the proposal is a funny shtick when it's done in a respectful way. Because, they're supposed to be nervous, and it's cute, right? It's cute when they're trying to plan out the perfect thing, and they want to try to work up the courage to actually finally ask and everything. And I've seen it in... my favorite to see it watching is Friends. I love watching Friends, and whenever the guys are trying to propose it, they're bumbling fools, and it's adorable. But it's respectful because they're only that way because they're nervous about it or they're being talked to, and the girls are always like, oh my gosh, or you finally get the moment of they had all these misunderstandings. Oh, that's what you're trying to do, and oh my gosh. They didn't even do that with him. They didn't even give him the moment of where she had to apologize for ignoring him, or that he did not even get the proper resolution to the shtick that they gave him. They literally just said,
okay, letting you know, she technically did apologize at the end of the movie, but he responded with, "My love isn't so fragile," which is worse. It's worse because
it's still part of the same resolution. She didn't even that's what I'm saying. She should have.
Yeah, it should have been a bigger lesson. That she did not return Kristoff's...
The words are not there.
Yeah, the words aren't there, but you know what I'm saying. Kristoff was not treated well in that movie. No. Honestly, I'm just glad Moana was the next Disney Princess movie because of their role and duty in the plot. I'm so sick and tired of royalty rejecting their role and duty as a plot point. Like it or not, someone needs to be managing the country. Moana did this perfectly because Moana makes the willing sacrifice to take care of her people instead of going adventuring. Then the story happens that allows for the adventure, but she puts her duty and people first. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. It's a really good point. I really like that. The thing is, I could not fit this entire comment thread, but this guy is basically a history buff, and he just went on about princesses and stuff.
Oh,
it was super good.
Yeah.
This particular comment right here, this is referring to when I said Disney whitewashing, and Anthony misunderstood what I meant. He pointed to one of the natives, and it's not Anthony's fault. I didn't communicate well exactly what I was saying there.
Right, because everybody was pointing out that they weren't based off of they're based off the Siam.
Some different people.
The point people are trying to make is that, well, the people that they're based off of are still white, so it doesn't matter, and that, but that's not the point, because they might have been based off of
the real life Sami people who are also white.
Yeah,
it's right there in the comments, and I didn't read it.
Sami. The movie opens with a literal Thanksgiving scene, right?
My big problem is that the whole thing is a Thanksgiving allegory, and that pissed me off. It's like, you have the balls to do this on Thanksgiving Day, and release this story and then have your pasty-ass queen on the throne. Like, it just... Too many things went wrong there.
Yeah.
And too many things were not handled correctly. Olaf's character development in the second movie felt natural. Yeah, no, I actually really liked
He was
Olaf.
he's the only character who got any real development.
And,
like,
okay.
Kristoff was just a perfect boyfriend, and just because women can have their perfect boyfriend. Like, he was the perfect guy. That's why I love him. But it's also why he was put on the shelf to not have any actual character development or character moments, because he was just there to be...
I think Olaf was a therapy doll.
Yeah, he was.
Olaf was the therapy doll of the movie. And I don't think I disliked that. I think he was fine.
His existential crisis was actually one of the best parts.
Yeah.
Next to Anna... Okay, I will admit, Anna's song about how to deal and cope with traumatic events was actually quite on point.
Yeah, there was a point where they're careening down the road, like in that snow toboggan.
What I mean is I'm sensing rising anger in me.
Wait, you're angry?
I think so. Elsa pushed me away too and didn't even say goodbye.
And you have every right to be very, very mad at her.
I'm like, someone wrote this in therapy.
Yeah, her entire song post Olaf's death was basically a psych review 101.
I think Frozen 2 was a pretty good movie. I think my least favorite part was Kristoff's side plot, and enjoyed the rest. As for Show Yourself, people were calling me out on this. Not really calling me out, but they were challenging me on this in particular. When I had the rant about Show Yourself, I mentioned that it was supposed to be like a queer empowerment piece. To me, I read it like that only because everyone else online seemed to be reading it that way, and I kind of saw it. Because how else are you supposed to read it? Because nothing else makes sense there. What does Show Yourself mean? And what are you seeing on screen? Elsa's weird, and she's been told to repress herself all her life until suddenly she gets to the lore cave. And inside the lore cave, it's revealed Mom was okay with what she was, and Mom was a native of another country. Like, what does that mean? Nothing adds up to what you're seeing on screen.
I hate to say it. I really hate to say it, but Once Upon a Time did this so much better.
Yeah. A lot of people said that in the comments. Really? A lot of comments said Once Upon a Time did it better.
The Secret Aunt was so much better than this BS we got in the movie. I loved because she was an evil aunt, and they hid her powers because they were afraid that she would turn into a problem like her aunt did. So they had to steal her aunt away, and then the parents died before they could tell their kids the secret about Elsa's powers, about why they were dangerous and potentially a problem. And it's so much better.
It really.
It's not a good show. Like, it's a fun show. Rumpelstiltskin's the best character in it still, obviously.
Mulan's Reflection felt more like an LGBT song. A lot of people,
yes. No,
it really did. Yeah.
It does.
Show Yourself doesn't work. It's a pretty song. I will say it's a pretty song.
But it lacks any sort of real substance.
Could it refer to autism? Maybe? I didn't think of it that way, but Elsa's not autistic. Like, at all. No,
I don't relate to her even a little bit.
I saw Elsa as asexual. I did too.
Yeah, she's very, because she's got touch problems. Like,
legit though.
Yeah.
Like, also, bad joke, frigid. I'm kind of split on Frozen 1. There's parts I like, but also Hans. Hans is a bad twist villain. Hans and Anna had better chemistry than Anna and Kristoff, especially when it hits the portion with the rock trolls and they're kind of forcing them to be together.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with that. I think it's more Kristoff likes her, not the other way. Like, Anna is just finding it, like again, this is what makes me so mad, is that Anna does not deserve Kristoff! She doesn't! I am so pissed off! It's such a good man, it's basically such a shit princess! I'm so mad!
No, Anna was great in movie 1. They ruined her in movie 2.
Okay, but she doesn't love him.
No, she doesn't. Personally, I thought Kristoff and Elsa should have gotten together. No, I thought that would have been cuter.
They would have been really cute. No, yeah. That's the thing. Anna and Hans had chemistry. She had an attraction to her. She treats Kristoff like a cute puppy dog who just wants pet.
It's not a good romance.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not a good relationship.
She doesn't deserve him at all. He should go to somebody better, like me. I deserve.
Here's my 6-part video essay on why I deserve Kristoff. Oh my god. Is this a hot take when movies use such ice imagery? I said get out. If ever I swear at you in the comments, please know that I am saying it lovingly. I'll say get out lovingly. If I'm ever directly rude to you in the comments, it's usually me being affectionate. I feel like advising Elsa not to marry a man she just met is at least half lawful neutral, lawful good. I said that's a fair point. Arguably chaotic good. I think any advice unsolicited is chaotic good most of the time. That's really all that comment. I just like that comment. It was a nice one. The only reason I included this comment is because Noko commented.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically repeating the point from earlier. Noko's her art partner.
Yes, Noko's our studio partner.
The third secret member of the Loading Crew.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Noko.
Yeah, because she does even more behind the scenes stuff than I do. So she was the art's good and everything, but like pushing the agendas and stuff was put in priority for this movie.
Then finally, here's someone who did not agree with me, and I don't mind people who didn't agree with me.
It sounds like you're too wrapped up in your politics to just watch a movie. I feel sorry for your daughter. I'm sorry, but if the movie didn't inject their politics first, then maybe I wouldn't get wrapped up in that point.
And that was exactly my response.
Yeah, you might want to change the video titles as going forward. You're going to do video reviews of the art. Okay, but the movie was wrapped up in its own politics first, not the other way around. How do you not get this?
I think they're mad because I didn't agree with the politics. That's usually what it comes down to.
I know, but like how are you so blind to the idea that like the politics came first in the movie? So that's what the problem. I feel sorry for your daughter. Shut up.
Yeah, no, they're fine to have their opinion. And again, if JoJo watches it on Disney Plus, I ain't gonna stop her.
I know, but like I'm not happy. Like every time she wants to turn it on, I'm like, no, you're not playing that in front of me. I get too pissed off because this movie starts playing, I start seeing red. I'm not shitting you. I cannot. I cannot watch people review it. I can't because they always miss the Kristoff point. Everybody I've seen that's done a review of it constantly, they think, well, the Kristoff song was funny, and I'm like, God damn it! Everybody who didn't like the movie still liked Kristoff's song, and I'm just. I can't.
Yeah, that's the last comment on Frozen, though. I can do Goblin Slayer, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
If I'm ever on fire, don't pour water on me or it will get worse.
See, that's way more fun.
Goblin Slayer. This was great. Thanks for having me on. That's from our boy Grimjack. And it's just a wholesome thread. I just wanted to show off. Shout out to Grimjack for joining us for Goblin Slayer.
I had so much fun listening to that one just for the Goblin.
There were people who didn't know who he was, and they stopped watching because they didn't like what he was doing. And I know that's because they didn't get the joke. They didn't know who he was.
But it's fun. No, that shouldn't matter. Like it's Goblin Slayer being freaking crazy. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oops. They just did. A lot of people just didn't like it. Not many. I would say like 5. Commented.
That's still so disappointing because Grimjack does such a great joke. Goblin. Aww.
No, I loved him. The Goblin Slayer you brought may have been a parody, but genuinely everyone who doesn't think Goblin Slayer is a true hero is missing the point of the show. Little problems don't go away because bigger ones show up, and tiny villages don't care if it's a demon lord or some goblins. Bradley even responds here. That's why they brought Grimjack to do the video. While he does play around the character's personality to create comedic moments, he understands perfectly well that his cause is noble. Yeah, that's why I had Grimjack. Grimjack seems to understand Goblin Slayer the best out of a lot of YouTubers I've found. Especially because Goblin Slayer has a very bad reputation on the internet solely because of episode 1.
Yeah.
And Goblin Slayer is a great show, great character, actually, Goblin Slayer, unironically, legitimately best world building I've ever seen in an anime. It is some of the best, most subtle, deep lore I've ever seen in any show. It's in a show called Goblin Slayer where no one has a proper noun. It is fantastic. I like this one. Barges into area, kills goblins, gets all the waifus, refuses to elaborate, leaves.
Oh my god. Okay, One Piece is fantastic in all of its character development and world building and everything, but Goblin Slayer is one of the most fascinating, unique types of world we've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Every weeboo is going to tell you this. Read the manga. Read the side manga, too. And it's really, really good. Goblin Slayer is one of the things where I felt dread for non-important characters. Yeah. No. That too, because not only do the characters die, they die brutally, and the
side characters are the ones that are most in danger.
The brutality of the show is what needs to happen in order to sell what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's one of the few shows where I feel the rape is necessary, even though it's wrong.
It shows the threat that he's fighting against, because he's the one that kind of, like he said, he goes in and he protects the everyman. He's not there for the big adventure. He's not there to be the big grand hero. He wants to, help the farmers and the just everyday people. And in order to really understand what he's doing and why he does it, you have to see how bad the everyday shit is.
Someone suggested interspecies reviewers. I'm going to get to that comment later. That came up before. Yeah, dude, Goblin Slayer is just good. It's fantastic. It's one of the best... most underrated things.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't bring up my favorite character. This was good. I did legit forget this.
In choices where the girls make Goblin Slayer promise not to kill goblins with flooding, poison, or fire.
So he blows up the non-beholder and the girls get pissed that he used fire, and Goblin Slayer was like, that was not a goblin. I think that's lawful neutral. And I'm like, yeah, and that's a great character moment. You found out that Goblin Slayer is not necessarily the deadliest fighter in the show. He's the deadliest character because he's like Iron Man in the sense that he is more resourceful than actually, he's more like Peter Quill. Yeah. He is more resourceful than like any other character. Goblin Slayer's superpower is his mind, his imagination, and his ingenuity.
And he gets that from his raging autism.
His raging autism and focus.
It's just autistic focus and fascination and just like,
it's so good.
Do this one thing, right?
I feel normal and abridged alignments might be a tad different. That's debatable because personality is not necessarily alignment and vice versa. Arguably, abridged boy is chaotic good. I just like that comment.
I mean, you would probably review abridged Kirito different than normal Kirito.
I would because abridged Kirito is a much different character. Great video as ever. It's sad you didn't include the Goblin Slayer movie, Goblin's Crown. I didn't know it existed. I missed that movie entirely.
How did you miss a whole movie of your favorite show?
I don't know.
That's insane.
I missed it. And the thing is, it covered my favorite arc.
No!
It's the best arc because they go to the mountains and they encounter the Goblin Paladin. So are we not going to talk about how he apparently was waterboarding goblins and the other horrific acts before the elf had to convince him not to?
The elf hates fun.
I don't really have a response to that other than goblins in this series are not people. They're basically demons. They're irredeemable, born evil monsters. Yeah. And that is because the world itself is a tabletop game. The characters are classified in very specific ways. Monsters have no redeeming qualities in that series.
No, it's not like, again, read a Viewer, where the monsters are actually given human traits and a personality and stuff. Goblins are monsters that want to kill and rape, and that's all they do, and it's not the same.
I'm gonna cut Scott Pilgrim, and I think I'm gonna cut Uzaki. The only thing I want to say about Uzaki, I will just pull up one comment actually.
All alone again, I see. I'll just have to hang out with you then. Your college loner lifestyle is officially ending today.
It's only really the comment that mattered.
Are y'all Christian? I'm Christian.
I love how you casually offer to draw Uzaki Daki, when clearly Sakurai Daki would have been better, both the Smash Bros. Guy and the male character. That would be a funny commission, like one side is Masahiro Sakurai and the other side is Sakurai from the show.
I don't see real people though,
yeah.
That's the thing, but yeah.
That was a cute comment. Personally, I like Uzaki-chan more than Nagatoro, but honestly, I can't blame anyone for their preference. Uzaki reminds me of my girlfriend more than Nagatoro does.
See,
that's legit. Legit.
That's the thing. Like, a lot of these, like, girlfriend anime, though, are going to be about which anime girl is most like your real-life partner. Like, that's going to be part of the thing. Though I do think Uzaki is the lower quality show, by far.
Nagatoro, Uzaki, and Komi-san are three different male insert fantasies. They really are.
Yep.
The fantasy of Uzaki is that you are an attractive guy that some girl just wants to bring out the best in you. And Komi-san is the opposite. Yeah. Komi-san is a beautiful girl, needs this boy to bring out the best in her. Yeah. And Nagatoro is somewhere in between, even though it doesn't seem like it.
Nagatoro's a brat.
Nagatoro, I'll talk about later, but yeah. Fun fact, the Notary episode was entirely sponsored, and I knew it. When I was watching that episode, I was like, did they pay for this episode? Because it was all they were doing. They were just talking about Totary, and it sucked.
I mean, I understand you need funding, but
Yeah, no, dude, that episode sucked so bad. I actually relate to the guy in Uzaki. I got friends, and I kept myself in college. That one's really good, too. I made the joke, finally, an anime protagonist I can relate to. That's legit, though. Like anime should be for everybody, and there should be an anime that relates to hot guys.
Yeah, no, because some of the best looking guys I know are still single as hell, and because they're too nice.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they've got their shit together and they got everything, and then they're so nice that they just get stepped on instead of actually finding somebody. And they're single and lonely, and it's sad.
Yeah, there should be anime for hot guys, too.
Yeah.
Really,
so,
like,
yeah.
if you relate to them, good for you. Really do.
Yeah.
I feel like Chaotic Stupid alignment would be more fitting of her. One day I'll do a video talking about Chaotic Stupid. It's a surprisingly interesting subject. Lawful Horny actually sparked a huge debate on Twitter.
Oh my god, yeah,
I just wanted to include that comment because I knew I'd forget about it. I don't hate this show, follows up with the line with, it was a chore for me to watch. I will say, my best videos tend to be shows I'm not a big fan of. Because I have to do more to make it interesting for me. And there's more for me to talk about in things I don't like. Things that I do like, it's basically me just going, this is really good, guys. It's best show, bye. Like, I get stupid around things that I like.
You don't know how to build an argument to actually make... Like, I should come on to the ones that you do like and help you, like, actually give the...
Well, the thing is, too, like, Redo was a show that I really liked. And I defended it very well. And the same thing with Nagatoro, too. But I had much more...
It's because you had to defend it. You didn't have to just be like... Yay!
Like, the Dio video, I was just like, Dio's evil, guys. It's fun. Bye! Like,
so how you doing?
Uzaki is the weakest of the Saidara trio because of everything you said. Apparently, it does get interesting later, because eventually, Sakurai is about to graduate, and she hasn't confessed to him yet.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah,
you
and I said, that's very interesting. That's going to be what comes up in season 2.
Yeah.
And I said, well, once we get there, I want to know more. I relate to Senpai. I was very much a wallflower. Alex brought out best in me. I brought out best in her.
When you're autistic, you don't understand social cues, so you just tell everybody around you just to get over it.
There was another comment. I couldn't find the person who commented this, but there's one comment I do want to include here. It was in the Nagatoro video. Nagatoro, he proposes, is just as socially as awkward as Senpai is because she does not know how to tell him that she likes him. All she can do, she has to shield herself with teasing. And I'm like, that's a good observation, and I'm surprised I didn't say that.
I feel like that might be more of a natural coming-of-age thing for kids, though.
Her youth helps a lot in her charm.
Because they're like middle school age.
No, she's a freshman, he's a sophomore.
Really?
Yeah, freshman and sophomore.
Wait, is it the same for us, or is it...
Same for them.
Oh, okay, really? Okay.
Oh, they call it first year.
Right.
Yeah. Do we want to do Jinx and then Keia?
We can do Jinx really fast if we do it quick.
I detest League of Legends because of the sheer amount of toxic people, and Arcane is an amazing masterpiece, and the characters are well written. And this is basically a whole thread of people basically agreeing with that.
Because League has had major community issues since the get-go, if I remember correctly. Because we even had problems with people that we knew who were playing League, and they were just some of the worst. Like, when it came to League, they were the worst person.
Is it weird that I hope Arcane becomes an anthology focusing on lots of different champions?
Now, this is tricky because we now know that Arcane technically breaks the established lore that is in League that people actually really like, and that's why a lot of fans of League don't like the show, even though it is really well done and really well written and gorgeously animated, I have to admit. It also brings attention to something that, like, I gotta say, what's the company that does League?
Riot.
I hate Riot, for one. So I hate the idea that this show is so good because it's just going to make people want to play League now. Yeah. And they're going to get into this, and it's going to build on top of a community that's already got a really bad reputation for being not that great to begin with.
Well, if it helps, there was a big movement on Twitter. I don't remember what the exact hashtag was, but it was, no matter how good Arcane is, I will never play League of Legends.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's like a small saving grace in that whole like.
It's kind of like the silver lining of season throws to give it season 8.
Yeah.
No one blames the actors. Everyone blames D&D for that.
Yeah, no, and it's just it's a super messy, complicated ball for me, and like I despise Riot. I despise that this might get league more attention. I despise that it breaks things that actual fans like about it. There's so many little details in here, despite it being an amazing show, that just make me not want it to. I wish it didn't exist in the first place.
The fact that the animators for the Keyaruga video got screwed as hard as they did by Riot, it speaks a lot. And
it makes me worry about this because like I don't know who got paid or who didn't anymore with Riot, or if Netflix funded it, or if they just screwed another animation studio again.
Holy hell, that last part with you talking about her anxiety and feelings that she's going through. Shit, man, I've recently had to go through that. Intrusive thoughts. I get very personal in the Jinx video. You didn't watch that one, but like I kind of spilt my guts in it.
Oh my god.
And like I explained how I really relate to Jinx. And basically, wholesome thread. That's all it is. It's just us saying Merry Christmas to each other. Good. It was a good thread. I like that thread. Oh, this one. Okay, this guy.
The reader of feel very annoyed that you like Jinx. The fact that you relate to her explains. Yeah, and you do.
Yeah, there was a deleted comment. I wish they didn't delete their comment because I kind of had an argument with a person.
Yeah.
Between the Jinx video and the redo of Healer video, it seems you have a victim complex.
No!
And I went, hold up. Hold up.
Oh, no.
I never once said I related to Keyaruga.
No.
Never once did I say I related to him.
No, you know somebody who relates to Keyaruga.
And I think that was miscommunication. I think a lot of people... And he even said... and I explained that in the comment thread. It's like, I got mad in Redo of Healer, not because people were being mean to me specifically about Redo, but because other fans were being shamed about it, and I was defending those fans.
Yeah.
And he was surprised that I would get that passionate about it. And I said, no, I would do the same for you, too. Like, don't shame fans for liking something, especially if it helps them. She really did become my favorite character by far. I don't know what to say about other than I support women's rights, but also women's wrongs. I want to give her a hug. One thing I will say about this show, Vi is a better Captain Marvel and Korra than they were.
Yeah.
That is how you do the angry lesbian, like, feminist character.
And, like, I love, because people like, they pick on the lesbian bit of her really, really hard, but, like, it's written in such a way where you really didn't have to view it that way, because I saw best friends and you're like, oh
no, they're going to be girlfriends.
Yeah, like, okay, no, I see it now, but like I like how it wasn't so heavy-handed that we had to, lean into it.
That was really all in the Jinx video, and I did want to point out that Vi did the angry lesbian very well. It was good.
You want your mousey?
Yep. Are we doing Keyaruga now?
Yay!
Let's do Keyaruga.
Here's my boy!
Here's what everyone, I'm sure, is here for.
Yeah.
Keyaruga. Oh boy.
Yay!
Redo of Healer.
Talk about that.
I took over 30 comments on this one.
Well, just start with...
I'm going to start at the beginning. This question here is, what got you to watch Redo of Healer? What got you into it? And I said, I saw that Twitter was throwing a fit and the show was getting a series, so I read the manga in defiance of Twitter and found it to be really engaging. And they're like, holy cow, that's not 20 motivation. And I was like, if it offends Twitter, it's just icing on the cake.
Oh yeah, no. There is no doubting that people just cannot finish watching Redo.
And
that is absolutely, but that's the point. If some people couldn't watch it, it could not be what it is. It has to be that far out to get the point across. Because that's what it is. It's the core of what it is.
Yeah, we had almost 1,000 comments on this one. This is our most commented video by a lot.
At all.
One of the things I want to point out too is a lot of people are like, I want to give this show a chance again. You don't have to.
It is made specifically for that some people cannot handle it. Like, that's fine.
The thing is, too, the people he's getting his revenge on are so, like, I wouldn't even say cartoonishly evil. The writer did a very good job in pointing out that these people kind of just, like, had it coming.
Yeah, no, they did.
They did.
I could literally go on for an hour about just the camera shots and angles in this show because it is so well directed. It's beyond. It should not be this good. The final episode where they do the turning camera shot, like the one from Thor Ragnarok that you got. It blew my freaking mind.
There's so much Western media that is so much darker than
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it is so much like Tyrion Lannister. His corruption plotline is like just almost as bad. Keyaruga is basically Tyrion Lannister. He's kind of got this like Tyrion's got this dark edge to him. Once the trial happens and he leaves King's Landing, like Tyrion rapes a prostitute and he abuses another dwarf girl and he kills his ex-girlfriend and she like arguably didn't deserve it.
I think the fine line is that he gives them a chance to see if they're better in the new timeline and they fail each and every time. Ooh, yeah.
Redo was a game changer for the channel. It really was.
Yeah.
There's so much I want to do in the future, and it showed me how accepting the audience was of my ideas. So yeah, expect more things like this in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you. Fun fact, Japan, and several Japanese polls taken regarding the series revealed that the majority of its fan base is mainly adult women. They love it and even recommend it to others. It makes you wonder. Yeah, sometimes women like assault content. Whoops. I misspoke. Women like sexual content.
Women like assault.
Women like assault. Women like sexual content.
Women like non-con is what you were after.
Yeah.
That's what you were after. And they do. It is the single most popular kink, I think, among most people.
Yeah.
Especially, and women, shockingly, like porn just as much as men do, if not more sometimes.
Yeah, women consume porn just as much as men. That's a very common misconception that people.
They'll consume the more fucked up shit. I guarantee.
I will at first admit I didn't plan on actually watching this. The show just didn't seem like my cup of tea, but I'm glad I did. The video itself is well done and points at the end were incredibly well made, and it's good that it was said. I think I'll give the show an actual watch, even if I do skip a couple more of the gratuitous scenes. That's the thing. Again, I don't recommend watching it. Like, it's a good show if you're into this at all. I will say that it was hard for me to watch as an anime because I don't really like women getting violence on them. I will watch a non-con scene.
Uh-huh.
I do enjoy that, but I don't like the finger breaking scene. Nah, that was immediate shut off. I did not like that.
It's not titillating. It's cathartic. It's not there to be like the sexy scenes are there to be somewhat titillating and sexual.
Well,
but the scenes that are there purely to exact revenge on those that have done harm. It's purely there to exact revenge in a horrific way on those who have done harm. I have not been more horrified since I've read Berserk, and I really
Yeah.
And why does the Berserk argument never come up? Like everyone's like, oh, Redo is so terrifying, blah blah. Is it because Guts goes against the things, but like there's still like tons of horrible acts, probably even worse in Berserk than what's in Redo. But nobody ever said, oh well, that shouldn't exist.
Yeah. This comment was theorizing about how his powers work. Apparently in the visual novel, his healing powers are more like time travel. That's why it worked. Not the visual novel, the light novel.
Right.
That makes sense. I always suspected it was something closer to Full Metal Alchemist healing, where you recomposition somebody, which is why he goes in pain. But the time travel thing makes sense.
Seriously need to pee. I'm so sorry.
If you don't like Redo of Healer because his powers are stupid, I totally understand. Because you're right, his powers are stupid, and they're not well explained in the anime. This was a great comment because it talks about, this is one of the few anime that really addresses men's issues. Abuse of men don't get talked about a lot. Abuse of men don't get... This is the guy who pointed out that hardly anyone talks about abuse of men, specifically sexual abuse of men. And
it still is a serious problem. Men's shelters are not a thing.
You know, it's a very good point. I would have brought it up, but the video was already it was a 27-minute video.
Yeah.
I actually cut out 2 minutes of comments in almost every video I edit. That's why the videos I edit turn out so much tighter.
I mean, they're talked about, but it's not the same. I mean, there's plenty of documentaries and stuff right now that are going on. Like, I've legit have seen firsthand accounts of men trying to call shelters and being laughed out.
Yeah. It's
a real issue.
It's not talked about in
a healthy way.
It needs work.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to talk about this point because I don't have anything to back me up right now. But
it's too in depth. It's too detailed, and there's so much going on with it. It's more than just talking about it. It's talking about it and actually having actions that go like the men's rights activists like sections are so minuscule, so absolutely. It's bad.
Yeah. This episode was amazing. I myself are one of the people who would fall into the utter dislike hate. Not that I dislike the people. I don't like the show.
Yeah.
That's fine. Someone who gained his power and he used it in such an evil way. Yeah, honestly, again, I'm not defending Keyaruga. I'm defending fans of Keyaruga.
Yeah.
That's really what my point is. You don't have to like the show. There are points where I don't like the show.
Yeah.
And you don't that's fine. It's really fine. Okay, this guy, I think, got me. Here's the thing. With Redo of Healer, it's abundantly clear to me that you like the show for the complexity, the psychology of the characters, and not because of the abundance of fan service, which should be taken into consideration. You do not approve of the method Keyaruga takes his vengeance. You only enjoy seeing the motivation and emotions, no more no less. Your interest is within the characters on a psychological level, whereas most people assume that watching the anime, you are an enjoyer of the non-con partying that goes down, or the twisted and perverted fantasies that the show represents, which is simply not the case with several people. All in all, I am looking at this video at face value, a deconstruction of what you see in the character of Keyaruga and those who his perverted payback effects. In the end, as you discuss how you think of Keyaruga as a fundamentally broken and traumatized man who lashes out on in
a healthy manner because he doesn't know how else to deal with it, yeah.
Nor does he have anyone who will truly and willingly help him through that, and for that, this video has my applause. This guy said it!
Yeah, no, that is exactly what it is. It's just a psycho... The show is not about applauding Keyaruga. It's just a psych show. It's just a big, giant, fun analysis on what happens when we break a character in a terrible world.
Also,
this is what is enjoy what it.
I will say I do enjoy the threesomes. I'm sorry. I like threesomes.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they're really good. They're really well done, and the scenes, you can watch the scenes completely out of context, and they're perfectly suitable porn scenes.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it is. I gotta say, again, my favorite parts of the show are the revenge bits and the violence. I guess my favorite episode is always episode 9. Just brutal. Absolutely brutal and savage, and I want more.
Yeah, I think I bring it up in another comment later, specifically for me and my tastes. I don't like most sex scenes in movies or anything because most of the time they're boring and kind of awkward and cringy and ew, just fade to black, guys. I don't need to see this.
Yeah.
But
threesomes are pretty good.
Threesomes are inherently interesting because there is a third party who plays off of the other two. And one of the reasons why Honey Pop 2 is so good is because it kind of gets it. In Honey Pop 2 specifically, one girl can carry the whole thing. The horny Muslim girl.
That was sad.
She arguably is one of the best threesome partners because you don't have to work on the other one when she's there. She carries the date for you. I still find it odd that the fan base is surprisingly female. You actually got in on this one.
Yes, I did.
I'm surprised the fan base of the series is primarily female, but also not surprised. I hate the character, but I love the concept, and of course, he isn't meant to be likable. It's a revenge fantasy. And then you pointed out, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. There's generally a much higher ratio of sexual abuse victims in females, and so it's almost relatable just by subject matter.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, now we know male abuse is on the rise in this day and age, but so far, right now, all the adult ratio of females is still that. Though I feel like that's going to change here in the next 10 years with all the freaking problems.
We're approaching, we do not want to get into this right now.
No, I know, but I'm just, oh man, I've read too many articles.
This show is disgusting, and it takes balls to tell you like something disgusting. I don't care if you like it or not, but I will say you deserve respect. 2 chaotic good dings and a Nat 20 video for you.
That's fantastic! I love that.
I never thought you would cover the show, Color Me Surprised. I said, honestly, I'm surprised I hit publish. Alex was with me in the room as I'm sitting at the YouTube screen.
And I'm sitting there just waiting for it to go up so I can put it on repeat, because I watched it 5 times. So I was like, Keyaruga, go! I was so excited. I had never hawked a comment section as much as I hawked this one. I loved it.
We're entering a toxic territory.
Dumb.
I'm sorry, but no, people do need to be shamed for liking Redo of Healer. And someone responded, how about that? No, they don't. And someone, and no, that was me. I said, explain to me why exactly they need to be shamed. They responded, because the show is degenerate filth.
That's not an answer.
And I was like, you're not elaborating. You're not.
It's not an answer. That's an opinion. It's not an answer. Like there's no real reason. Like that's the whole point. There's no real reason that people need to feel bad about this.
Also, I might add, please do not go and flame anyone directly. This is not meant to be.
Obviously, like the whole point of the video was to stop flaming to begin with. So
yeah, exactly.
Like, Jesus.
Who is this one? Ah, okay, this guy.
Oh, here it is.
This is your boy Jack. Okay, we had a disagreement in the comments. He eventually came to understand our point. Again, do not flame this guy. He seemed to fundamentally misunderstand what we were going for.
Yeah.
What the fuck? How is rape only 2 evil dings and not instantly completely evil? Like the very deepest pits for, yeah. Also, I'm creeped out by Alexandria's reaction and treatment of this. I'm just at a loss for words.
Yeah,
and I said, something tells me you didn't finish the video first. And he said, you're right. I still feel super uncomfortable after watching it. Catharsis is a thing, but I sincerely hope you don't think rape is ever justified. And yeah, he kind of just assumes, and he straight up asks me here, do you agree with me that rape, even in a rapist, is simply the worst crime? And it's like, buddy, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah. Is people are making broad assumptions about my very serious thoughts when I'm just saying you're consuming a piece of media. I even admitted, like, I like threesomes, and I like the occasional non-con scene.
Yeah.
It appealed to me. Like, it did. But, like, that's not why I like the show, you know? And then here comes Alex, and they argue for a bit. Do you want to cover this one?
Yeah, no, because, like, the thing is they were really surprised that, like, I like this, but, like, I've always loved the dark and twisted anime. Like, here's the thing. I was explaining this to him, because with my other favorite shows before this was, like, Higurashi and Elfen Lied. Mm-hmm. Those are unequivocally my favorite shows to just revel in, especially Higurashi. And specifically the torture scenes in Higurashi. And, like, I've always loved that. I've always loved the twisted and dark and, you know, let's take this idea and push these humans to the absolute limit to where they break mentally and physically. Like, I'm all about that shit. So, like, the fact that this is just another form of that. This is actually the most, I think this is the furthest I've seen an animation ever, besides, because Berserk didn't really even show.
Well, Berserk, here, the thing with Berserk is demons were doing the assault and not people. Yeah, and like, Guts never assaulted anyone.
Yeah, no, and this is literally taking characters and showing the psychology along with it, which is what Higurashi does too, which is why I like it so much. Yeah, and, like, here's what really got me is this guy saying, does that not make your heart ache to see the thing that happens to 1 out of 5 women and only about 6% of the rapists will ever see a day of prison? So, fun fact about me, I was severely sexually abused when I was 6. And I went to court and was dragged to a very painful and traumatizing court session. And my guy got off with house arrest. So anybody making this assumption at me and saying and being like, don't you feel sad about that? Let me have my shit. Like, it's just literally trying to make me feel bad about something that I'm literally a part of. Like, just the pure assumption is just so, it's so painful. I feel the same way when people shit on comedians for making, like, child molestation jokes. Mm-hmm. Those are my favorite jokes! Like, am I not allowed to feel better about something that happened to me that's incredibly traumatizing and I will probably never fully get over? Like, that's my PTSD, by the way. That's exactly what it is. But those are my favorite jokes because they make me it makes it not so horrible. It makes it attainable. It's something that I can actually sit down and laugh at, and I can feel better about myself. Mm-hmm. Nobody is allowed to take that away from me. Ever. You're not allowed to take that away from people. You can't be on the outside and be like, rape joke bad, when you've never, like, just, I don't want to tell you that you can't have your opinion, but get out of my face.
Jack, I...
Just taking the statistic and throwing it in the face of somebody who they think is just, you know, ha ha, right, funny, really, really pisses me off. Like, it really does. Like, don't make these assumptions. Don't get on your big white horse and say, oh, it's for the good of all. It's for the better. We shouldn't encourage this kind of thing to exist.
Many awful things have been done in the name of the greater good. Your point about a character getting his revenge and having everything but still being miserable is not as deep as you might think. She's absolutely correct. The idea that a revenge person is still miserable even after getting revenge, it's not a fresh concept. It's very well, it's been done before. It's probably been done better. And they were right to call it out. It's not particularly deep, but I do think that it's not right to take it away from people who still appreciate what's happening. And it's still the fact that the show went out of its way to still show this.
Yeah.
Like, he's still miserable even though he's getting everything he wants. Like, that's still important to show. So I think that's really what it comes down to. And she also makes the point, it's an unsavory story, and regardless of how you paragon and what you believe, its intended message that the main message is giving off, intentionally not, is a rape power fantasy. It isn't uncommon for unstable young men to latch into characters like him and fantasize being him, completely missing the point of the character. Yeah! You're right, but also people will see Sasuke and think that's a good role model too. Yeah. Do I think Sasuke doesn't deserve to exist? Arguably, but that's just because I think he's badly written.
Yeah. No.
It's fine. Like, and he's not and Sasuke is important to some people. And the next comment comes in here too. This person here, I'm not going to read their entire comment.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's very well argumented. But they said that they study psychology, and they say people who revel in this obviously do not end up healthier, in the sense that if you consume only this sort of media, it's worse for you. And my response is kind of no shit. But at any point in your mental health journey that takes you into the step of a healthy direction is a good step.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it comes down to, because I had to study psychology too as a teacher. I've been to therapy too. I've watched her in therapy.
He's been.
Every step into a positive mental health direction is a positive step. Even missteps. Even because I'm dieting. I lost 80 pounds over the course of the last couple of years. Even missteps are useful. Even mistakes are good. If this show is a step in the right direction for you, good. If it's a step in the wrong direction, figure out why it's a step in the wrong direction and then take it into a different way. Even missteps are good. And that's kind of what I don't like about this person's comment, or at least don't agree with it. They are correct in certain ways that if you revel in this sort of thing constantly, it can be destructive.
Yeah, because you're just going to go down like a total spiral about it. But again, like I said, this is the kind of stuff that I would read all the time as a teenager when I was still very obviously not coping with what I had.
Yeah, Justin even notes here, obviously, if you only watch rape media, you'll be a worse person. Next, you're going to say if you watch only racist media, you're going to be racist.
Oh, yeah, no.
A little bit. Yeah, that's how it works.
Like, that's how you're influenced. But, like, if you're, exposed to this stuff and it makes you recognize it's making you feel something, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that I did, is I was reading and kind of reveling in this shit as a teenager, but every teenager is not going to admit that they're going to have a problem, or they're not going to recognize that they have a problem. But, like, they don't understand that, you may not even recognize that you're having a problem, but you understand that you're getting a reaction out of this shit. Mm-hmm. And you have to kind of, like, realize what that reaction is and understand how it is you're feeling, and as your brain develops and starts to understand what's actually happening, then you can recognize, oh, well, now I'm miserable and now I have a problem and now I need to get better. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened with, what happened to me a little bit different. I was trying to get better, and then I triggered myself, took about 10 steps backwards, and that's when I was, okay, I'm not functional. Time for hard therapy.
Yeah. Lilith's comment here too actually rubbed me the wrong way, where he said unstable young men will latch onto it. First of all, like that's also very sexist in itself.
Yeah.
In the sense that this show shouldn't exist because mentally unhealthy men will take it wrong. Excuse you.
Yeah.
Like that's anything. Even MatPat is very woke, actually.
Yeah.
MatPat has pointed out that the news, as in like news media itself, has caused more violence than any show or any any programming, any work of fiction ever has.
It has, and it's awful. Like this is literally the thing that all the Puritans, because there's an entire generation of Puritans and antis nowadays where things just shouldn't exist because it's gonna blah blah blah. Like it's absolutely fascinating and kind of horrifying and dangerous to I do not like this new Metallics coming out of the woodwork. And it all goes back to video games cause violence.
It really
this is just the video games cause violence argument all over again. And it's terrible.
Yeah, MatPat was really woke. I dunk on MatPat all the time, but I respect MatPat.
No, I do too. Like I don't agree with him on everything, but he does his best. He's very solid.
And if you looked at some of his videos lately, he dropped some red pill shit, like talking about genetics and how it affects a lot of different things.
He's not an idiot.
Yeah.
He recognizes that the science can't be ignored just because you might think one way or because that's the problem with all this like Puritan shit is it's always agenda first, science later, and facts and that's all it is. Literally, I do not understand.
We just finished Redo, and now we're moving on to Kevin. This is our last video that we're talking about for the night.
I'm Kevin McCallister, 671 Lincoln Boulevard. Do you need the phone number?
That's right.
So, first comment I want to point out, people seem to think I saw Tim Curry first in Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I understand why you think that. Because I came off in a lot of earlier videos as chaotic horny. No, in truth, my first Tim Curry experience was Muppet Treasure Island. I just wanted to point that out. Silco lost to Kevin McCallister. I love democracy. To be honest, Kevin was much more fun to do. I'm glad Kevin won.
We had so much fun watching those movies again. So, okay, I gotta tell this now because we watched the first one and we were like, oh yeah, it's really fun and good and it's a good movie. And then we kind of giggling a little bit through the home invasion part, oh yeah, it's funny jokes. And then we were like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see them all done again in the second movie. And then the second movie, the home invasion part came in. And we about died laughing.
Were we drunk
no,
watching that? We were sober?
We were sober, and we were on our asses laughing hysterically. It was so cartoony over the top. And we were like, I forgot the second movie's way funnier.
I can't believe Kevin didn't start at Chaotic Evil. Everyone knows that kids are inherently evil. True. That's kind of true, actually. They're by nature, that's what they are. Because they rely on you for everything, and they don't understand empathy.
No, they don't.
Children just don't understand empathy. It's just how it is.
I've seen a couple exceptions.
I love seeing the origins of Jigsaw. Surprise, it's a Christmas movie. I have to do Jigsaw in the future.
Okay, so I've actually wanted to watch the Saw movies forever because Noko says they're freaking hilarious.
I kind of feel bad for Kevin at the beginning of the movie because it's kind of unfair how the majority of his family treat him, only to be and then someone pointed out the plight of the youngest child.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is, you watch it and his big brother bullies him, obviously on purpose, and the parents don't really do anything about it.
Oh, this comment legitimately made me laugh, for a solid 3 minutes. Honestly, the burglars were basically a party of two adventurers who don't know how the sunk cost fallacy works. Originally, it was an idea the DM had to have two players on a heist, one shot, and the other was defending the heist. Kevin pulled no punches when the DM gave him a list of items he could find. And he found a use for everything. You pleading with Kevin to stop throwing the bricks to call an ambulance as he keeps throwing bricks was hilarious. One of the best jokes I heard in the season.
Yeah, no, that was really funny.
Thank you. Okay, I was genuine. When we were watching
it, we were like, oh yeah, the brick thing. And then we were watching it, we're like, oh god, the brick thing.
And I even talked to her about that joke as the bricks were being thrown. It's gonna ding chaotic good at first and then chaotic neutral, then chaotic evil.
Give it to me.
Whoa, Kevin, dude! That shit kills people, dude. Oh my god. Okay, maybe he meant to scare him off, or he just... they did threaten to murder him. Warning shots can be effective if... Oh my god! Okay, Kevin, it's not too late. You can call an ambulance and maybe he'll live. Kevin! Stop! He's going to die! Kevin, please, you don't need to do this! You don't need his blood on your hands! Oh, Kevin, please! He has a wife and a mother! Kevin! That joke was made on the spot while we were watching the movies, and I was worried that it would come off as cringy, because I can't act. I'm not an actor. I've got an awkward voice, so I'm glad people like that joke. And a lot of people like that joke. I got a lot of comments like that. This is me in that Nat 1 scene. This is a legit point. I do wish I could take it back. When the parents are like, we never forget our luggage, and then laugh as the security guard looks uncomfortable. That was the point of the scene. You're right.
Yeah,
I just didn't like what the parents were doing, even though I kind of understood it.
I would have done the same thing. You would have too.
A little bit, but no. If it was Kevin, yes. If it was Joe, maybe I was projecting too much JoJo.
I think you were. Because,
I think I was projecting JoJo. That was an unfair Nat 1 scene, and I will admit it. Sorry to put you through Home Alone 4. So when I made the poll, he was the one that pointed out to me that Home Alone 4 is apparently canon with that Kevin McCallister. I reject that reality. It's kind
of like the Cruella movie. Like they want it to be the same Cruella from the movie. It's not. I'm never going to believe that. I'm never going to buy into that. Disney.
This was an interesting factoid I did not know about. Chris Columbus, who directed the first 2 Home Alone films, saw how miserable Macaulay Culkin became after his success due to having an asshole dad who took advantage of his son's fame. So when Chris later directed the first 2 Harry Potter films, he made sure kids hired had a healthy family so that wouldn't happen again.
Aww.
I had no idea. That's a great factoid. I wish I knew that.
Depressing. Yeah. No,
Also,
I know Macaulay Culkin. Like he's talked about his dad being a bitch like forever.
Also, if you really listen to the music from Home Alone and Harry Potter, you can see a lot of parallels.
Yeah, it's a Williams, isn't it?
John Williams? Pretty sure.
Yeah, he did all.
No, Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman.
Okay, it's one of the 2.
Yeah. Listen, they're the only guys who get work, okay?
I mean, they're really good.
Yeah, Danny Elfman. Wait, we're not supposed to take the made-up alignment system for a TTRPG applied to the fictional character seriously? My whole life has been a lie. Thanks for the existential crisis today for Christmas. It was such a great gift. Very much appreciated. This was me referencing, do not take this video seriously.
Yeah.
I am chaotic neutral to the gore. Enjoy your existentialism.
I kind of want to watch Home Alone 2 again now.
I kind of do, yeah. When we get off of this, we'll just...
Just turn it on so I can fall asleep to the funny.
Yeah. I would object to your points on bullies, but no. Okay, so in the Home Alone video, I include a small, like, line of text that says, punch bullies in the face. And, yeah, I still say that. When I was in school, I literally punched every single bully who bullied me or my friends in the face. This is not an exaggeration or hyperbole. I punched and used violence on every single bully in school. Somehow I got away with it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Afterwards, they respected me for it, and I'm still in contact with them with this day.
Wait, which one?
I'm not going to tell you which one. I'm not going to say their name. Okay. But, like, I literally punched every bully, and I'm still friends with them. That's just how guys work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Punch bullies. Seriously. Do it. This is strictly talking about school children, though. Yeah. If you're an adult... Sorry, you got to deal with it. If you're an adult, deal with it in another way. Go to the officials. It's just, yeah. School, okay, speaking as a teacher as well, it is very, very hard to catch a bully in the act. And teachers can only intervene when they catch someone in the act.
That's the rule.
It's the rule. I can't stress enough that teachers cannot do a single goddamn thing against bullies unless they directly catch it. Kids, you got to punch a bully. They'll respect you for it. It's what it like. Don't be nice either. Yeah. Eventually, yeah. It'll cause short-term problems. But I'm going to tell you, high school, middle school, doesn't matter. My beef isn't with Kevin, but it's with you. It took you way too long to acknowledge that the Wet Bandits changed their name. Funny comment. There was another comment I could not find, but I really liked it. And it was said, you gave Kevin a lawful good for wishing his family back, including the ones he didn't like. That actually should be chaotic good or neutral evil. In doing so, he wished back a bully into the world. And I was like, that's a good point. And that is all of them. I am out of comments. We did skip Scott Pilgrim, but honestly, I don't think much is lost there. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us.